Man, what sound? The horrible death of Napoleon Bonaparte. I don't know what happened to him, but a nigga finna figure out, yeah, real deal.
Bleeding ulcers, a stench so thick it soaked the bled clothes and clung to the walls. After his death, blackened bile oozed from his mouth and stained the pillows red. This was the horrible end of one of history's most ruthless conquerors. Today, we reveal the true story of the death of Napoleon Bonaparte, a tale so gruesome that it is rarely told in all its festering reality. Napoleon Bonaparte was born on August 15, 1769. When he emerged as first consul at 30, he was considered the most gifted military mind of his generation. Slight, intense, with dark eyes that seemed to read the room before he entered. A British diplomat wrote that he had the posture of a man used to winning, and the silence of one who didn't need to ask permission. How, then, did this architect of empire and self-proclaimed savior of Europe end up bloated, bedridden, and rotted in exile? He rose through ambition disguised as duty. In Italy, he took a starving, unpaid army and returned with gold, paintings, and a new republic. In Egypt, he lost ships and soldiers but came home a legend. When Paris turned unstable, he stepped into the power vacuum without a single shot fired. He was careful at first, issuing proclamations in the name of liberty, rewriting laws with the language of justice, but the ceremonies grew larger and the titles changed quickly. Within 5 years, he had declared himself emperor, standing beneath the dome of Notre Dame with a crown in his hands and no one left to tell him no. He became a man obsessed with image and control. He dressed in robes heavier than a soldier's pack and signed letters with phrases once reserved for kings.
So this nigga was just obsessed with being famous. He just wanted to be a well-known famous. Well, you got it, nigga. It's 2025 and Napoleon Bonaparte, your name still known, nigga. You did exactly what you wanted to do, gang. You stinky bastard. You died daddy, but you was famous. Like it.
He renamed months, redrew borders, and seated his brothers on stolen thrones. Foreign monarchs shook his hand and then wiped their palms. He ordered painters to immortalize him as Caesar and surrounded himself with officials who referred to him as divine. To lose ground was humiliation. To make peace was weakness. And when his armies began to stumble, he blamed maps, marshals, and the weather. Never himself. But to understand Napoleon's physical decay, we must understand France's decay. The Reign of Terror, which lasted from 1793 to 1794, left France drenched in blood and in a state of what some would call moral bankruptcy. And although Napoleon played no part in its horrors, he rose swiftly in the chaos that followed. Public virtue had collapsed into private indulgence, and among the victorious classes, promiscuity became not just common, but expected. In the army, venereal disease reached epidemic levels, infecting more than half of all soldiers. Some historians believe Napoleon, who rose rapidly through military ranks and surrounded himself with mistresses, contracted a venereal disease during this period. The diagnosis of syphilis remains debated, but his symptoms, headaches, rashes, pain during urination, appeared as early as 1797, the year...
That nigga was fucking a daddy slut. Are you serious? Dude, you was rich and you still couldn't stay away from diseases from a hoe? Man, that'll let you know right then and there a female can be your greatest or it can be your worst. You just gotta pick them right, man. This nigga was the world's greatest leader. He got with a female, motherfucker pissing lava, getting all these nasty warts on his body. He turning to shit. He starting to stink. Like, man. Man, history is sick and disgusting.
Venereal disease during this period. The diagnosis of syphilis remains debated, but his symptoms, headaches, rashes, pain during urination, appeared as early as 1797, the year after he married Josephine. She too...
Josephine, it's your fault! It's your goddamn fault! You the one to blame for it! It's just your fault! It's in your name, Josephine, duh! You a damn fiend! It's your fault!
...had a history of affairs and had become sterile by the time of their union, a common result of advanced gonorrhea. The symptoms worsened as his power expanded. In 1802, at the age of 33, he began to suffer attacks of stomach pain so severe that he collapsed onto the floor and screamed until he vomited. At the same time, his sexual appetite became erratic. He demanded the presence of women at all hours, yet his performance was often brief, mechanical, and followed by sudden, unexplained rage. His aides described these episodes as volcanic. He would shout, overturn furniture, and strike walls with the flat of his hand. These tantrums, once rare, became frequent and always ended in long, depressive silences. Reports from this period suggest that he began to contradict himself in meetings and struggled to concentrate for more than a few minutes. In 1806, he suffered from eye inflammation that lasted over a week. In 1811, his speech became confused and he began issuing contradictory orders, sometimes within the same hour. He accused allies of betrayal, then forgot the accusation. Physicians noted a tremor in his left leg and a persistent twitch in the corner of his mouth. He walked slowly and often needed help rising from a chair. He described sharp pains in his limbs, especially at night. These were symptoms consistent with tabes dorsalis, a late-stage syphilitic infection of the spinal cord. But no one dared say that word out loud. His courtiers blamed exhaustion. His generals blamed stress. But those closest to him began to whisper.
Hey, you know something, bro? A man is only as strong as his army. Why all you bitch-ass army niggas was so scared to speak up? He ain't nothing but a damn man. Without y'all, he wouldn't be shit. Yeah.
That the emperor was no longer himself. The turning point was exile to the island of St. Helena, a volcanic rock in the South Atlantic in 1815. At 46 years of age, Napoleon was shipped there by the British after his final defeat at Waterloo. The journey was humiliating. He arrived bloated, exhausted, and deeply aware that he would never leave. His health collapsed within months. He vomited daily, his appetite vanished, and the heat swelled his abdomen with fluid. The smell of decay began long before his death. Officers stationed near his residence noted that the rooms often reeked of vomit, damp wool, and rot. The same symptoms had struck 2 years earlier during the campaign at Dresden, when he was seized with violent stomach pain and sudden diarrhea that left him unable to ride. He lay in his tent, curled against the cold, while his army waited for orders that never came. His physician noted swelling in the legs, a weak pulse, and fits of shivering that would not stop. Aides begged him to pursue the retreating allies, but he sat motionless.
He was a weak, little, frail fucking man. That's all I'm hearing. That nigga was weak. He was not a damn emperor. He was a weak, sick son of a bitch. That's all he was. He shouldn't have been ruling over nothing but the toilet. The nasty ass motherfucker. He constantly had bubble guts and all these other crazy ass problems, and y'all calling him emperor. That nigga ain't no emperor of nothing. Wrong with you.
Blankets and refused to speak. My mind resists, he said, but my body gives in. It was the first time his weakness had cost him a war.
Hey, bro, I used to think that shit was real. Like, the way the movies would put it, when somebody knocked the books out of female hand and you just go there and pick it up on some Captain Save a whole type of shit. I used to really think that's how high school went. Then the motherfucker got to high school and I realized, shit, bitch get her books knocked out of her hand, she better pick them up before they get stepped on. Crazy. Wrong with that.
The exile also marked a shift in his mind. Coincidentally or not, it occurred during the same period when he became increasingly obsessed with his legacy, rewriting accounts of his campaigns, censoring his letters, and lashing out at the British governor who confined him. Some historians suggest that the pain, combined with likely neurosyphilis, triggered paranoia and long bouts of rage, followed by silence. With limited movement, his body began to distort. The once proud profile seen in marble busts gave way to swelling in the face, sagging eyes, and a torso puffed with fluid. His legs withered.
Oh, boy! Boy, that boy had the bill belly of death! Jesus! Hey, can you just imagine somebody like that walking in a room trying to command respect? Nigga, shut up. I'd be like, somebody get a needle and pop his big ass belly. That's where his brain at.
His muscles wasted. He could barely walk across the room without leaning on someone's arm. On bad days, he needed help getting out of bed. The island diet worsened his decline. Reports from his household described thick stews, spoiled meat, and cheap wine. Vegetables were scarce. The water was often unclean. Meals ended in gagging. Servants noted he would clutch his stomach and stagger away before finishing. His digestion slowed to a crawl. Every bite brought pain. The internal damage grew unbearable. Doctors tried to intervene, but their treatments only deepened the suffering. They applied leeches to his temples, lanced his swollen abdomen, and dosed him with calomel, a mercury purgative now known to cause organ failure. His tongue swelled. His pulse slowed. The blood he vomited turned dark. At times, he couldn't keep down water. The smell of his sick bed grew so powerful that aides opened windows even in cold weather, hoping the sea breeze would mask the stench. At 49, Napoleon spent long hours confined to bed, surrounded by the few who remained loyal. He spoke often of Josephine. Her portrait sat beside him. According to one valet, he once pressed a gold snuff box she had given him to his lips, whispering something unintelligible. The gesture was repeated. Of Josephine. Her portrait sat beside
Even in sickness, he was still pussy well. The woman who did you like that, put you in that bed, made you bedbound at the age of 40 something, whatever they said, and you still love her? Where she at, my nigga? Tell me where she at, bro. Where was Josephine duh? Where was that fiend? Yeah, nowhere to be found. Of course.
him. According to one valet, he once pressed a gold snuff box she had given him to his lips, whispering something unintelligible. The gesture was repeated, the words never were. By 1821, his final year, companionship had turned into care. Albin de Monthelon helped administer his medicines. His valet, Marchand, wiped his mouth and dressed the sores on his skin. They were not servants anymore. They were witnesses, tasked with maintaining the last scraps of dignity in a man who had once crowned himself with his own hands. In his final years, Napoleon suffered from a long list of physical ailments. Modern experts believe he most likely had stomach cancer, compounded by tuberculosis and recurring liver infections. Some suggest syphilis, though this remains debated among historians. This mixture of conditions turned his last years into a slow collapse. Accounts from those on St. Helena described how the emperor shifted between bouts of vomiting and faintness, and long silences during which he stared at the wall without speaking. Napoleon's temper grew sharper as the pain increased. The once decisive commander began accusing those around him of betrayal, sometimes without cause. He dismissed trusted physicians, blamed servants for imagining.
He just an old goon that got sick and he blamed it on the world. I mean, shit, it ain't really much more else to say about Napoleon Bonaparte. Bonaparte. Whatever, how you say it? Bonaparte. I don't know. Napoleon. That's what we gonna call you. Napoleon. It ain't too much more else to say about the guy. He just was a old goon that had ambitions to be the greatest. And look at you now, bro. It's 2025 and I'm still saying your name, nigga. So you was the greatest, brother. But you just was a daddy old goon. But man, y'all know how I get though, dick. Man, fuck with me. Don't fuck without me, bitch. I'm gone.